everyone. Welcome back to Just Angie. My name is Ciku Mutahi and I am your host for this season. This season, we're having conversations about generational gaps, and the idea is to bridge them. So I'm having conversations with different professionals, different people, leaders of industry, and just, friends, family, and just trying to understand what the gaps are, why they exist, and what we can do to fix them. The solution really is the goal here. As I said, my name is Ciku Mutahi. A bit about me: I'm a project manager. I do exports, a bit of sales. I am also a student. I am extremely passionate about the youth. I'm extremely passionate about this continent. And today, this episode is called Inheritance and Entitlement. And I'm having a conversation with one of my spiritual leaders, Apostle George Thaara. I will allow him to introduce himself before we get into it.
Thank you, Ciku. Happy to be back on Just Angie. As she mentioned, my name is George Thaara. Excited to be here. Happy to have this conversation. I love just that theme of bridging the gap.
Yes.
And excited just to see what comes out of it.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much for accepting to be here. I'm extremely honored. So we'll just take a journey through a bit about wealth, inheritance, finances, conversations like that, and hopefully at the end come up with some solutions for the audience on how they can go about these difficult conversations. So to begin with, just an icebreaker, something simple, easy. What was your first introduction to money?
My first introduction to money, I think I remember when those days it was Nakumato Uchumi, when you were at the till.
Yes.
So we were like maybe 5 or 6, me and my sister. And they always used to put the chocolates and the sweets and all those things there, just as you're at the till at the eye level. Mm-hmm. So you pick one up and the first thing my mother would say, we don't have money for that. So that was the first introduction for a lot of us at that time was we don't have money. Even I think the world's money is just as a way of just telling us we can't buy that.
Yes.
But the way it came across is we don't have money.
Yeah.
So that was my first introduction to this thing called money. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. I think for a lot of people, I'll also say for myself, I think that was also one of my first introductions to it. Yeah. It was always, no, we're not spending, we're not buying, we don't have it, And it's like, are we really? I don't know if you think, is it a cultural thing? Where do you think that comes from?
I think what they were trying to communicate is not that we don't have money, but I don't have money to buy that. That is not something we should buy.
Yes.
But I got, again, this thing of just bridging of the gap of generations, I think our parents used to use as little words as possible in terms of how they used to communicate. Yeah. So as little words as possible is we don't have money.
Yeah.
Because she's trying to remove her purse, trying to pay. There was no M-Pesa those days. You're looking for the cash and all these things.
Yeah.
And there's this 5-year-old kid trying to pick us 5 chocolates that is on the side. So, so that was just, I think it's just a way of communicating because they just didn't feel like that was something we needed.
Yeah.
But the way it came across is we don't have money.
Yeah. Interesting. We'll go a bit more into that later. But another small quick fire. If I asked you to complete this sentence, what would you say?
Okay.
Money is ...
Money is a tool. I think that's what I'll say. Money is a tool.
Yeah. Okay. If someone says it's just money, true or false?
True.
Wow. Interesting.
It's simple. It's just money.
A bit more behind that. Why do you say yes?
I think it's just money because sometimes maybe it's not just money, but if you have that relationship with it, they say you hold it loosely. I think sometimes we build it bigger than it is. Yeah. And then there's the spirit within it can start to dictate everything, and your hopes, your dreams, everything is now connected into this thing that controls everything. And then the fears and the insecurities on all these things come, and I always feel that money is a result of something else. Money is the result of it. It's not the end goal. So if you're doing whatever else you're doing, that's why whenever you see these billionaires, at times you may even think they look cocky. They'll say, if I lost everything today, 3 months or in 2 years, they always have that thing, I'll get it all back. Because they understand the money is just a result. If they perfected whatever process it is, the money will come.
Interesting.
So I think, when you say it's just a thing or it's just money, it's because it's just a result of something bigger that you're doing, something bigger that you're fulfilling.
Yeah.
If you do that, then money will result. It'll come.
Interesting. So where do you think this whole idea of money isn't just a thing, where we started to make it big? Where did that come from?
I think media, because advertising.
Yeah.
The days on TV, you see those ads of a BMW and all these things, and you're told money is the answer
to
to getting everything, all these things, big or small. Because the people in the ads have the biggest smiles. They look like they're the most joyful people, the most ecstatic people.
Yeah.
And the connected is these things. If you buy these things, you get happiness. You buy these things. So advertising, I feel, has brought this world or narrative that your problems can be answered by purchasing these items. And to purchase these items, you need money. So if you're having challenges or frustrations, or if you're overwhelmed or underwhelmed in life, if I purchase that car, if I purchase that holiday, if I purchase that new 70-inch TV, then I'll be happy, I'll be fulfilled, I'll be whatever that the end of that response for you. So I think that's why then people say, if I get money, then I'll get happiness. Because I can buy all these things that can fill me and cause me to have fulfillment. So I think that's potentially it's just the way the world has driven that narrative.
I mean, there's definitely a lot more to that, around what is it that we're trying to feel, why are we so empty, but I think that's a different conversation. So back now to money and what it has to do with family. You've mentioned how your first introduction to money was, we don't have that, but do you remember anything else? Maybe now as you got older, what were some of the first things you were taught about money? Maybe the things that stayed with you for really, really long and maybe kind of shaped your understanding of money, your understanding of the world. And then now going into currently where you stand with money or wealth, etc.
So I think if we just talk about it, I'm very fortunate with my parents. My father was he's very successful in his marketplace, and he is very successful in his understanding of just the concept of money. And he taught us from a very young age. So I was also that generation, we were always told, I'm Kikuyu. So I was given education and that was, everything else is his. But it just have this thing that, we're not depending on anybody. We have the ability
to create.
It's not this mystical thing that you have the ability through your talent, your skill, whatever it is, going to school and achieving. As long as you achieve, you can generate. But also there was a lot of emphasis on stewardship of money. The concept of being diligent. So I remember very young when I would go to university abroad. He would intentionally give me almost 6 months worth of all the resources I would need financially. So that's for paying for I'll stay off campus. So you're paying your rent for the actual school, seminar fees, for your food and all those things. And the intention is, do you have the ability to manage this for a 6-month period? And there will be an expectation that you have to account for it. So there's a way you're writing it down and you reveal and show us how to do those things. So I feel the challenge with a lot of people, if you're never taught these things, ignorance is bliss. It's if you've never known, how would you know where to start? Or it's so much harder. So for me, I was so fortunate with that it was not a taboo thing. That we were allowed to talk about it. So much so that growing up, and my father was also different, is he would never just give us cash, but we would see the benefits. So we'd go on holidays and go to spaces and places and see how you can use money, so that he didn't have that thing of, I can't wait till I grow up and I have money to do
all these
X,
things.
Y, Z. Because you do it, so then that sort of hold of saying I must be a millionaire by 25 and all those things. Because we started to see that thing that money is just a tool, it's a means to an end. And that sort of gave that perspective that I didn't carry that pressure of I need to have 100 million in the bank so that money was not attached to my identity.
Yes. Yeah.
So that growing up helped a lot. So that even now when I'm older, it's the same thing. It's I think now what has been led older is just the spiritual side of it as well, that, you know, all this is from God, right? He gives us the ability to produce wealth. And I think maybe older, the key aspects. So when I was younger, I learned about just the principles of how to manage it.
Yes.
Older I've got is the understanding in terms of where it comes from and that its use. Maybe I could call it the wisdom of money. And the main thing is I realize it comes from God. So yes, my actions and all these things are important, but it comes from God. And if it comes from God with a purpose, how I use it will determine how much more I'll be given. So I always say I'm a pipe. I'm a pipe from heaven, and God just pushes down these resources. And if I'm not found faithful, so if he asks me to do something and I go do something else, then he'll start to restrict how much he pushes down. So I think just to close that, what that did for me with that understanding is that it took away that pressure. That pressure to provide for my family, to say I must do this or that. Every decision I'm making now, what I realize is if I'm just doing what God is asking me to do with my resources, more will come.
Wow.
And I just it settled something in me. So yes, my background is finance, so I did all these financial models and understanding of buying shares and stocks and portfolio management. And all that stuff is very handy. But I realized that's not the source. Initially, I used to think that was the source of it. If I do those things well, I'll get more money.
Yes.
But just that understanding that it's about stewardship, that if I'm a better steward of it, more will be given to me.
Yeah.
From the person who has all of it.
Oh, wow. So much to unpack. I kept wanting to interrupt you. But
Yeah, no, go.
I think the first thing I would ask is for someone earlier in their journey. So maybe someone, a Gen Z,
Yes.
or whatever, or maybe even your children and that
Yes.
other generation. Where would you start them off?
I think it's just to break sort of, I'll call it the stereotypes of money. Because unfortunately, what money is used is as a tool of control. So the person who carries the money carries the influence, and we like to have control. So therefore, you start to associate money with control and influence. And so it's to break some of those stereotypes that this is actually something that's easily accessible. I remember one thing my father used to do when we were maybe 9, 10. If we washed the cars on a weekend, you get 50 bob. So there was this thing of saying there's something I can do even at this young age to generate money. So it's not this mythical thing that I have to plead to my father every day, and when he's feeling happy he gives me when he's not, you know, there were things like if I got an A in school. So there are ways he was giving us that if you're sort of connecting that if we're able to work hard or
It's like value.
There's a value system of saying that this is not just something that's given, but there's a way if you apply yourself, you get access. So just those linkages, I think, because a lot of people, their linkages are different, where it's based on someone else. So I have to make somebody else happy, right? So if I'm looking to get married, I need to marry someone who has money. So it's not about what I can generate, but it's always on somebody else. So how do I manipulate people? So all those things you learn from a young age, either good or bad, that relationship. So I think for me and for this generation, it's just to show the process of through yourself, there's an ability to generate wealth and to see money not just as a money, but as wealth, that it's the result. So as if I apply myself, the result will always be wealth, because that then builds a confidence that this is not something that can run out. You know, they call that scarcity mentality. That there is not enough. There's not enough for everyone. There's not enough in the economy. There's not enough to pay taxes. There's not enough. And then that then drives decisions, because there's not enough. Then there are things I cannot do. I cannot give. I cannot do X, Y, and Z because there's not enough. So I think it's just that overall relationship with wealth that we just have to. That's what I think I'll do with, especially with my own children. From a young age, so that's because the hardest thing is trying to change are programming someone already has with money.
Yeah.
It's so much harder to do that. So it's easier to do it when they're younger. Just show them that relationship that they can have with wealth.
Interesting. We've been saying the words money and wealth. I know they're not interchangeable.
Yes.
So for everyone out there, what is the difference?
I think money is an aspect of it. I think money, as I mentioned, is a tool. I think they're very similar in the sense that they're both an aspect of resources. So maybe wealth is resources that are, again, they're both provided to you. God gives us this wealth. And it's a stewardship. But I think maybe the key difference, they're very similar, but maybe the difference is money is as a result of something. So if you fulfill something, that the result will be money. But wealth has a broader aspect to it. That's why we talk about things like generational wealth, that they're things that you're just born into, or you can enter into that you don't have to have earned. So I think wealth is something that is established. So they say there's a difference between rich and being wealthy. Rich is more. There's an aspect that it's new. It's just been generated, but wealth is an establishment. And the aim, therefore, is about maintaining it and stewarding it and still growing it. But when you're starting about money, you just want to generate as much as you want. And there's an aspect that is not enough. Every time people who talk about money,
from one to
there's
the
an
next,
aspect there isn't enough. But when people start to talk about wealth, there are certain things that have been settled. With money, you're like, I have enough money, but do I have enough money?
And you're always looking for
there's more. And it can run out. Money can run out. Wealth,
it does not.
Wealth doesn't run out.
Interesting. Wow. Okay. How? Why?
Because I think wealth, again, is from action, but wealth comes from an understanding and a maturity. Wealth is established. So you could say money is like a salary.
Okay. Yeah.
Because every time you work, you earn it and you get that salary, and that's your money. Wealth is an aspect where you're able to generate money or resources even when you're sleeping. You're not actively, it's not actively connected to, I worked X, I get Y. There's now an aspect that you've created a system, a structure that is able to generate within itself. It's beyond your individual. So you're not scared of being sick. There's some people who, they generate a lot of money, but if for whatever reason they're not able to go to the office, it cuts short what they're trying to do. But wealth is beyond that. Wealth is an aspect that it's generational. It has, it's about assets. It has, it's broader. I think it's a broader concept. But to get wealth, you start with money, but there's a way you establish it. In a way that now you have just, they talk about those generational wealth, where for 7, 8 generations.
No one did anything. You
always hear those stories, I think, in Middle East, where people around them, they say they don't know any poor people around them. There's no one. There's some things you see, I don't have any family people who are poor, but there's some people who they don't know anyone. Even anyone and everyone they interact with has a level of wealth. There's just that whole ecosystem of it. So I think wealth is that aspect of just that mindset, that establishment, that maturity. Because I know a lot of people who have a lot of money but have no maturity of it. That means it's here today, gone tomorrow, right? And they have no confidence that it will remain for whatever reason it is. And that's just that maturity of it, that it has many places it goes. So that analogy of a pipe, a lot is going through, but there are holes everywhere that they're not aware of.
That
more even just holes, it's not that it's not going anywhere functional. And there's no control.
It controls the person.
You have no control. So when you say maturity, if I gave my son $1 million shillings, it's a lot of money. But first thing you'll go to the toy shop, right? You buy the whole toy shop. Then you'll go to the sweet shop. He's not thinking, where will I store all these things? He's not accounting how much is left. There's no aspect of stewardship that is, it's like, I have it, I got to spend it because I have it. So that's that nature where money is the focus. It's like, and sometimes we give, what I'll say, excuses for my job. I need to dress a certain way. I got to drive a certain car. But sometimes there's truth to that, but there's also an element of that keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes.
And is it truly that you need that to establish whatever you're trying to establish? For some people, there's an aspect that as part of your branding, but for others, it's, again, that keeping with the Joneses. And before, all that you worked for is gone. And again, it's just a word of understanding.
Yeah. That's very interesting that you mentioned that, because now what I'm thinking is, I wouldn't say, maybe I don't think like this, but maybe I'm hiding behind something. But what would you say to someone who says, okay, I'm here today, I have my money today, what am I establishing it for? You know, let me enjoy my now, my today. What's the importance of making more of it, or creating wealth as opposed to just having money?
No, it's a good question. And I think this is why now maybe there are certain aspects beyond money. And that's why we call money a tool. So if you say something is a tool, then it has a purpose. There's a function that it's used for. And for a lot of people, if we don't understand the function of a tool, like, you know, with these new smartphones, there's so many tools in this thing that we have no idea what they are, right?
The manual is like this big.
And you know, us men, we never read. We never read the manual. That's why if you start with an Android, you'll never go to an Apple, or vice versa. You're like, I'm not going to learn a whole new thing. But the point is, there's so many tools here, we have no idea what they are.
That's true.
So because we don't know what they are, we don't know how to use them. We don't use them, and we use. So the same thing with money. What I'll say, and again, my father was very good at this growing up, is this aspect of purpose. That we're not just here to make money, or we're not just here to enjoy life. There's something big, and this is why having faith, spiritual anchoring. Because when you start to understand, and this is why even I'm sure we'll talk about inheritance, it's the same thing. If we don't understand the purpose of what inheritance is, then our ability to steward it or to keep it, for some people, inheritance is, I can't wait for my parents to die. I get money, I do what I want. Now I can decide. But there's not that aspect of what is this generational wealth for? What is it? So the same thing with money. You don't understand its purpose as a tool. And normally the reason why, one of the scriptures I love is Deuteronomy 8:18. It says God has given us the ability to produce wealth as a confirmation of his covenant. So he's saying the purpose of wealth is because of the covenant, and the covenant is the covenant he gave with Abraham to Joshua. Wherever you place your feet, there shall be no defeat. I'll give you the land. I'll give you control. I'll give you influence. And wealth is an ability to have all the influence so that the kingdoms of this world can become the kingdoms of God. That if you have an aspect of wealth, it builds up your influence. You're able to dictate how things can be for the kingdom of God. So when you start to understand my wealth is a tool to fulfill what God desires. As I said, it's a pipe. So as more water is going down through that pipe, the pipe gets wet. So you will be wealthy, but you understand what the wealth is for. And if we don't have that linkage of understanding that money is a tool to fulfill something bigger, then what those people, you know, there's parables in the Bible where there's a man who was very wealthy, and he was like, what am I going to do? So he says, I'm going to bring down my barns and bigger ones and build bigger ones so I can store all this. And, you know, the Bible says he was a stupid man. And that night he died. But the whole aspect is he didn't understand the purpose of its wealth, of his wealth. And he didn't understand the purpose of his money. So if we don't have that understanding, then our ability to utilize it for it to even fulfill joy and happiness and all these things. So we have so many times of these very wealthy generations, but the pain and the heartbreak you hear. There's kids who had everything, but they're alcoholics or they're stuck at home. They're not able to step into what they were able to step into because they just thought, parents are wealthy, I don't need to go to school, I don't need to do X, Y, and Z. But then they lost their whole life. So that blessing then became the curse. And that sometimes happens when we don't have an understanding of what it is. And that's for wealth, for money, but for anything, our talents, our giftings. When we don't understand purpose, it's very hard to fulfill or to utilize that tool if you don't know what it's for.
Interesting. So I think one thing that you keep repeating is an understanding of what it is, what is its purpose, what role do I play in making sure that God's will is like manifests on earth. And you said one thing about the pipe will get wet. So I will still experience some of the things that God is going to use me to do for other people. You know, it's almost like, rephrase. It's almost like I will also experience the good things that come with it.
For sure.
Because God is using you to get to other people. So you're not forgotten. You're almost, you're part of the process.
It's exactly that. You know, Acts 1:8 says, when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, you shall receive power and be a witness. And the reality is we're meant to witness the kingdom. We're meant, you know, there's sometimes, again, maybe from the older generations, to be a Christian was hard. It was hard. You need to pray all the time. You give away all your money. You put sackcloth. You know, there's just this thing of, and they used to wear it like a badge of honor. It's hard. So I used to look, why would I want to be a Christian? Why would I? This God is like a headmaster. He just wants to. He's just a slave driver. He just wants everything. And there was this aspect that they're living for heaven. So the whole purpose of life is to get to heaven. And there's now this aspect, there's heaven on earth, that we are to witness, we're to create a kingdom here on earth, we're to rule and to reign here on earth. You know, Revelation 22 talks about the new earth, the new Jerusalem with, you know, pavements paved of gold. These are things that are meant to manifest. We read about Solomon, it says silver was like stone. It was almost worthless because there was so much of it. This is what's meant to be for us as well, so that people say, there's something about being a Christian, because every Christian I see, they're living good life. And so there's this whole aspect of prosperity gospel. And in itself, there's no challenge with prosperity gospel. The challenge that people have is the disconnect is prosperity gospel for the sake of being prosperous and not the purpose behind it. So we only preach, you know, touch and possess.
Yes.
And you see S500, touch and possess. But we're like, what is the purpose? So yes, God wants to give you those things, but there's purpose behind. There's work to be done. There's a stewardship. I'm a son in my father's house, so I'm causing it to be fruitful and to increase and to multiply. I'm not just spending. So when you teach prosperity gospel of spending, you're just getting everything for the sake of it, then there's a fallacy there. But God wants us to witness. We have to witness. And any aspect of saying that the life of a Christian is a struggle, you go through periods like anything in life. But that can be, there's a joy, there's a grace, there's a happiness. People want to be you. That's the desire. And then that's when they say, how are you like this? And you give the gospel of what Christ has done for you. And resources are part of that as well.
Wow. So for this next generation, I guess to parents or to the older generation, you would be saying we need to teach them to understand. We need to explain to them, to show them, to action, to help them grow up with an understanding of wealth, what it is, what it's for, and the fact that they have a role to play in stewarding that, but also realizing that, one, it doesn't just disappear. And as a faithful steward, it continues to flow through you.
I think the challenge is you can't teach what you don't know.
Okay.
And that's the struggle that we have is we are saying parents should teach. And this is why this aspect of generations is so critical. Is there are a lot of people who had family wealth and generational wealth. Then there was a gap, somewhere it got lost. And now people are starting again. Every generation they're starting again. There's nothing, we're not building. Because even if we talk about inheritance, what's the whole aspect of inheritance? Inheritance, like, again, we confirm it's not, we're just waiting for our parents to die. Then we get money and a house. You know, there's something bigger than that. One of the forms of inheritance is the wealth. But I always say inheritance is a mantle. When you read Genesis 1:26 and 28, it says God has blessed us to be fruitful, to multiply, and to have dominion, for us to reign in our territories, our jurisdictions. And what a mantle is your calling. What God has called you to do. It's the power of the anointing that enables you to fulfill that call. And the jurisdiction where you're meant to rule and to reign, whatever that calling is.
Yes.
And the mantles are generational.
So it's passed down.
They're meant to be passed. That's why you can see a family and you see these guys, them and money, there's something. Or you see even in sports, there's some families where everyone plays sports. Like their father used to play, they represented their country in football or basketball, their son, the grandson. There's something there that in their genes, in their makeup, in their atmosphere, whatever it is, they can take a certain path. Things are just easier for them.
Yeah.
And for some people, whatever that thing is, because there's a mantle. And when we understand then inheritance, the inheritance is passing down of the mantle. Biblically, you see this. Moses had a mantle, he passed it to Joshua.
Yes.
Abraham to Isaac to Jacob, generational God. So God says that these things, these promises, these covenants that were from one generation that is meant to be continued. But when we don't understand this thing, like Bible always used to say, remember, teach your children, tell your children, pass these things on beyond. And when we don't have that, then there are breakages. So now every generation is starting again. And you see it again biblically with the Israelites. They would sin, they'll be going to captivity, then someone will arise within them, will chart the right path. But there's that season of transition, and we struggle with it even within Africa. We were really good with it before colonialism and all that, when they Ubuntu culture and all that. But now, this thing of transfer, we struggle.
Yeah.
We don't understand how I remember I heard once Matu was speaking about older generation that is insecure with the younger one. They feel threatened and whatever it may be, but an inability to transfer. I always believe that if you start so well and you have an aspect of wealth, your children should not be thinking about their first car, or your first mortgage. These things. Imagine if they were there. What could
you have done?
A lot of people, as soon as they get out of college and they start to work, they're like, I gotta get a house. To get a house is a 20-year mortgage. That means 20 years of my life. A mortgage at 15%. Then I gotta get another car. To get a car is a monumental. But compared to somebody else who, I'm not saying you buy your children S500s, but I'm just saying this aspect that there's something. So there's those resources, but then there are things they don't have to start again. They don't have to start building foundations. So with the aspect of inheritance, you're actually passing on the inheritance and the next stage, and then your kids can do bigger and better. And other cultures do this really well.
They do.
But we have to figure out, how do we have that mindset? But what you don't know, you don't know.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called for that generation that are called to do this. It's not just to create or generate great wealth, but how do I create the systems and structures that this wealth can outlive me?
Yeah.
That I have full confidence that the next generation will be. I don't have to think about trustees and other third-party people outside of the family to manage. Why are my children not able to manage this well? And therefore, I have to have just that maturity and long-term thinking from a very young age. I don't start thinking about legacy at 60. I start now. And from the younger generation, unfortunately, if this is not modeled for you, but going through watching podcasts or schools or whatever ways of being enlightened, then how do I be the first one to do that and create that structure that now for generations, I am going to be the worst. Everyone else will be. But you see, there's that aspect of stewardship, of creating more and more value is what it requires.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think a lot of the conversations I've had about wealth and transfer and, creating and allowing it to outlive, a lot of the feedback tends to be, but we started from nothing. So you start from nothing as well, and you have to go through that process to make sure that you understand the value in this and this and this and this. So in response to that, what would you say? Because I do see the value or the what would I say? I understand why people would say it's important to go through some of these things because you then understand that the value behind it. But is the process being denied, or is it being taught, or is it, I don't know what you would say.
No, it's a good point because as we said, that those guys with generational wealth, but the kids it's gone the wrong way.
Yeah.
But the reality is, it's work. Whatever, it's like parenting. Whether you have money or you don't have money, parenting is hard work.
Yeah.
It requires your time. I've got 3 kids, and that's the thing that's the hardest. It's time. You can't delegate.
Yeah.
You can have help and things around the home, but a lot of these things that you're trying to transfer requires your time. It requires you to sacrifice. The reality is, if I have wealth and I use it as an excuse to save me time, so other people do all these things and I don't have to sacrifice my own time, then that's what happens. You see some people or parents where they made a lot of wealth, but they're not there for the kids. So they use the wealth as making amends
for not
so
being present.
I can't be there for your birthday,
but
for your birthday you guys go to you go to America or wherever in Cape Town or whatever. Because I'm not giving you access to me, I'll use money as a substitute. But then the relationships, because then the whole aspect we talked about, the inheritance, what are you passing on? Because you're not just passing money. Money is one of the tools, but you'll teach them how to use the tool. You'll teach them how to use this mantle, whatever those things are. And if you are not willing to sacrifice your time to teach people these things, then you always hear those things where 5 years,
everything's gone.
It's all gone because they have no idea. They've just been waiting, right? And they'll then have the maturity of my 6-year-old where they want to go to the toy store and buy the whole, and you see toy stores or car garages and whatever.
Cars,
there are a lot more expensive toys that people will use to fulfill whatever they felt was missing. Because now you've taught a programming that when there's a vacuum, money can solve that vacuum. If
so anytime they
love is not there, but I get a toy, then the toy is a substitute for some of these things that are intangibles.
Wow.
And then that becomes a programming. And then these are the things that we're passing on to the next generation. Because again, we say, you can't teach what you don't know. So this is then what we start to call cycles and generational cycles. And it requires one person to break it. But after you break it, you see the story in the Bible of Joshua. He was a powerful man of God, and he brought them into their inheritance, into the promised land. But at the end of the book of Joshua, in the first book of Judges, it says when the generation of Joshua passed on, the new generation grew up who did not know the Lord. That means that at the time of Joshua, there's great prosperity, there's great breakthrough, great wealth. But when they passed on, a generation came who didn't know. They just saw the tools, but they didn't know how to use the tools. They didn't know what they were for. And they had the maturity of, this is good life. Let's just spend everything and not. So that, again, is, if you're one of the few who know there's a mandate in you, how do I pass this on? Whichever way that God reveals it to you, whichever way through, can be podcasts. Sometimes, I've seen a lot of people who they're encouraging their fathers to write books. So not for public circulation, but for the family. And those things are very powerful tools, because now my children can be reading about their great-grandfathers with context, right? Africans, we need to learn how to document and write so that we have our history somewhere. So that, again, we're not starting again.
Zero.
That's one of the biggest curses or challenges in Africa. We keep starting again. No foundations.
Interesting. On the topic of, I guess you're saying it's more about what you teach them, what they see you do.
Yes.
Not necessarily what you say. And I think something I've picked up from what you said is that presence and the time and the sacrifice that you make to spend with your children has a much bigger effect than all these other material things that you want to use to substitute. And I guess that's more about the foundation of, I guess, your children. Like, what is it that they're learning? What is it that they're experiencing at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 that then translates into who they almost become? or what they know is right, or what values or character or whatever that may look like. And so I guess in line with that, we're speaking about inheritance, and there may be people watching this that are on the side where that is how they were brought up, and there was maybe no presence. Love was substituted for money, or a lack thereof, whatever it may have been, and they want to try and do things differently. Where would they start, or where would you suggest they start? How do you almost begin to break out of that and step into something new when there's no, it's hard to correct a 70, 80-year-old, person, but me in my position now, where would I begin?
I think it's, just on the first part of what you're speaking about is that aspect of time, it's everything. Between 1 and 12, a child is formed, more or less. And if you're not able to spend that time, and you talk about bridging the gap of generations, there was a challenge where the way our father expressed their love was by working 15-hour shifts, and so I can provide, so you can go to the best school. I want you to go to St. Andrew's Story or to Hillcrest or what other ICK top schools, but I'll sacrifice everything, including my time. And that misalignment, so that we have children who are very well educated, but they had no parenting because their father was never home. But the father thought this sacrifice was a valid sacrifice. And I think there's a shift where we're starting to understand that what is the right sacrifice, because sacrificing your time for the money is not that. There's a imbalance there. So now, once the cycles are built, how do you break through? I think is as just a desire, because even when you don't know what you don't know, but you can tell sometimes this is not the way it's meant to be. And the challenge we have in life is we accept. There's a saying about in India with elephants. When elephants are born, the ones that are in captivity, they tie a small string around their neck. It's really thin. And the minder would use that to control. Now, when the elephant becomes adult size, and they would use the same small string around their neck. And because of the upbringing of that elephant, it feels, I can't break.
I see.
I can't break this thing. There's no even point in trying. And there's this aspect of mindsets and what we call programming. Another example they say is, there's this thing about an experiment they did with monkeys. So there'll be 10 monkeys in a tub or at the bottom of a swimming pool that's empty. Then they'll have a bunch of bananas at the top. Every time a monkey tries to get a banana, they'll pour water on all of them. So now the monkeys understood that if we try to get those bananas, we'll all be wet and we don't like it. So they'll start to, anytime a monkey tries, they'll beat it down. And what they started to do was replace one of the monkeys. And every time a new monkey came, it would be beaten because it doesn't know the history. It will try to take. And what happens after a while, all 10 or so, however monkeys are, they're all replaced. And now we have these 10 monkeys that have never seen water. They've never seen water. They see the bananas, but anytime a monkey would try to go get it, they would beat it. They don't know why.
Yes.
Because they've never seen the water.
They've never actually seen the water pour.
There's a programming that had been instilled in them. They've never seen the water. And sometimes what we feel like we're those monkeys, like we are destined,
Destined for.
Where I've been born, my parents, the circumstance, the situation, this is my lot
change.
in life. And with those two examples, the whole aspect is, why try? But sometimes there's a grace, I think, that God will bring either through exposure with right people to show you that there's something. Don't accept. Because there are always the stories we hear of everyone's father went to school with one shoe. They crossed 10 rivers and all that stuff. But we had those stories of our fathers who went over and above, and everybody else had settled. There was something in them. So I think it's just that ability that there's something we have to respond to, that if God, who's our Father, there's something He desires. Yeah, he desires great things for us, greater than what we do. And if we're born in such a hard space or place, there's something he'll desire to draw that out of. He'll bring maybe the right people. But there's an aspect of choice. How much do we desire? How much do we accept that this, I might not know what right is, but this is not it. And am I just going to accept this? You know, there's this aspect we're growing that everything should be fair. Life is not fair.
That is true.
And we're waiting, because the guy who was born with a silver spoon in Runda Estate, I was born in Buru or wherever it was. What can I do? No, there has to be something within us that says we may not have started the same, but by the grace of God, things can shift. So even though I don't have, I think it was Peter says, money and gold I don't have, but what I have, I give to you. And if we have just that revelation, understanding, relationship with God, he starts then to reveal. You know, Matthew 6:33 says, seek first the kingdom of God and all these other things. So the thing I would say is, go to God, because God reveals through his relationship, understanding. You know, God and church is not just for Sunday. He wants to give us understanding in the marketplace. He wants to give us understanding in generational wealth, in terms of your business. He's not just interested in singing songs, and he wants fundamentally to restructure your life, to make it as fruitful and beneficial. He wants to step in to play that father role where our father couldn't play it, or where our mother, where we were let down, where there was an abuse and all those things. Sometimes we take that as our identity is, I'm abused. And it's hard, and no one will discredit that. But God says that is not your lot in life. But we have to choose to, not even just to embrace it, but just to say, okay, let me take a step, 2 steps, 3 steps. And as we take 1 or 2 steps, God is moving to us so that we break, because those deformations in us, the enemy, his intention is to put certain programmings in us that makes us feel helpless.
And stuck.
And it takes time to shift or to change that programming. And that's just exposure and situations and circumstances that God can bring about to change it.
I see. Okay. Now we're getting towards the end, but for you, there are the lessons that you're teaching your children, but those are more, I guess, private. So what are some of the things that you're doing to begin to teach people, help them understand about what wealth is, what inheritance is, how to steward it, the purpose, how to find its purpose, how to, just all these principles and all these things that you've shared with us today? Have you packaged that and put that somewhere where people can begin to interact with it? What does that look like? Yeah,
one of the, I'll say, scariest scriptures in the Bible is Hosea 4 verse 6. And it says, my people perish for a lack of knowledge. And it feels so unfair, but it's not their fault that they don't know. But what you don't know, but that can hurt you. It can cause you to make bad decisions. It can cause you to lose what you have. It can cause you to lose the resources. So I feel that I was blessed. My father taught me about wealth. I was born into it. I didn't choose. I didn't choose my father. I'm so fortunate. There was so much favor in my life. But with that, how do I then create that for other people? So there are certain platforms. There's a company that I have called Kizingiti Capital, and we run these seminars of understanding the purpose behind the wealth. How do we build understanding? Because without that understanding, I think it's Proverbs 4:6, it says, in all things, seek wisdom. At all cost, gain understanding. If we have no understanding, what it's like, I give you this phone, it's worth 200,000. But a lot of people, they only do WhatsApp and take calls and YouTube because they have, and some pictures, but they don't understand this is a whole computer. This you can run a business with this small thing. There's more technology in here than, probably the spaceships that went to the moon the first time. There's so much, but we have no understanding. And it's the same thing with wealth. So the first thing is to break the lack of knowledge. How do we create? So I've created a platform where we run this program twice a year of creating knowledge. But beyond knowledge is understanding, because someone said knowledge is an ability of, it's like skills, learning these things. Understanding is, how do I utilize? How does my knowledge impact my decisions? Because you'll know a lot of the people who are financially irresponsible, a lot of them work for banks. They have a lot of knowledge about money. They touch it every day.
Every day,
They touch it there. So sometimes we feel because of proximity is enough. Proximity is not enough.
It's not.
Those guys, they probably handle more money than I have. Through their hands, millions.
Yeah.
They have proximity to the money, but they don't have that understanding of it. So I have to say, how do I look beyond just the proximity of having it? How do I understand how to steward it? And that's from purpose. So what I'll say is, and for other people, if you have the benefit of understanding this thing, create systems and structures for other people to understand. Whether it's programs for global people, maybe it's just for your families. You've got nieces and nephews. Instill. If you're one of those, they always talk about this black tax in Africa, where there's one person who everyone is. The way you start to break black tax is the next generation, but it's time.
Yeah.
And the challenge is, we don't want to sacrifice our time. So we have noble ideas and been trying to be noble to change the world, but we don't want to sacrifice. If you want to train the next generation, it requires time. And we have to be honest with ourselves and say, am I willing to sacrifice something that may not benefit me directly today, but will benefit generations? And if you have a mindset of generations and a mindset of true inheritance, then you'll be able to spend the time to create systems and structures, programs. How do I bring that form? Because there's education of school, but in school they don't teach you about money. They teach you about maths and chemistry, and university they don't teach you about money. That's why people who have doctorate degrees have no idea what to do. So these are things that you've got to learn at home. You learn in communities. So within those communities, how do I create? If I know, and if I don't know, and I know I don't know, I need to go look for people who know. This is why God says that we shall be a witness. Other people who look like they have that understanding of what money is, and not the guys who've stolen, right? So you'll know in your heart what the right way that they've generated that wealth. Approach. If there are those in the families, whatever, approach them, ask them, walk me, show me this thing, and God will put something in their hearts, because the way this world changes is relationships and discipleships and growth. The way we're taught in this world is you should just know. I remember the first time I went to work, there was this whole expectation, you should know. I'm like, I'm just out of school. I have no idea how to do it. You should know. So we have to break that cycle. And as you're saying, how we bridge it, we just shouldn't tell the next generation you should know. But let's spend the time to teach them.
What they need to know.
What they need to know. And maybe we teach ourselves first. Because let's not teach our ignorance and what we think money is, that money is scarcity. We don't have enough. Why are you trying to buy that thing? What's wrong with you? How you trying to buy a new car when there are people starving everywhere. And so now you're feeling guilty. Because there's no understanding of what it is.
Wow. I think we've had a very productive conversation. I think to sum it up, one of the biggest things that you kept repeating is time, and needing to spend that time with the younger generations. But first, time with yourself for you to understand. So time with God, He teaches you, and then time with them for them to understand. And that being the way that we then can pass on wealth and not give money.
I like that. Pass on wealth and not give money. That's exactly it.
And that wealth, you said, comes with a mindset. It comes with an understanding. There's wisdom you're passing. It's not the money. In fact, the money is not it. It's everything else, the mantle. All of that. And that's what we should be looking to pass on. So thank you so much for your time. I think I've learned a lot, and I'm sure everyone has learned a lot as well. Before we wrap up, do you have any questions for me? Do you have any last comments? Anything you'd like to say to the audience?
I think maybe just for you, this series you're doing on Bridging the Gap is key. Because so many times we see the spaces. It's like those things where, because of a space, the thing falls, the ball falls through the hole. And this bridging the gap, it changes everything. There's so many people who are starting again, reinventing the wheel. So I feel that maybe the last thing, first, I congratulate for what you're doing, and for the people where there's a gap, find a way, how do I fill this gap? Not just for myself. Let me not just arise by myself, but make sure the people coming behind us don't have to experience that gap. Life is not meant to be struggle. Yes, we have to understand processes and systems and all that, but let's make life enjoyable. Let's create time. Time to spend with families, time to do whatever God may be asking us to do. And if we fulfill inheritance correctly, if we fill and bridge these gaps, one thing that we create is time. And time is the most important resource out of everything.
So interesting.
So I feel that if we do bridge this gap, what it does is it creates time. Time for our country, time for healing, time to understand what's within us. If we bridge this gap correctly, we'll create time for generations to come.
Wow. So you use time to create more time.
It's one of those things how God works. You got to use time to create time.
Wow. Amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you again for being a guest on this podcast. And may God bless you. Have a great rest of your day. Thank you everyone for watching. Leave your comments down below, and be sure to join us for the next episodes of this season, Bridging the Generational Gaps. I've been Ciku Mutahi. Bye.